recording with Frankie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the last time I remember using Skype. But anyway, yeah, welcome, the great Jackson Kakwenya. I don't know how you want to be addressed, but for the purpose of this conversation, I'll address you as Kakwenya. Anyway, yeah, like I said, welcome, Jackson Kakwenya from Lusaka, Zambia, yeah? Yep, born and bred.
My whole life I've been in Lusaka, bro.
What part?
Lusaka, the city mainly. I've moved around different compounds, from Kanyama to Chipata compound somewhere there.
Okay.
Then I've also lived a little bit in Mandevu, then predominantly Kanyama though, before eventually making the move to the United States for school.
Tell me about that process. How did that come about? How did you find yourself in the United States?
I would say the process starts from high school. So I was fortunate enough in high school to get a scholarship from this organization known as Kucetekela Foundation. So these people, they sponsor bright but vulnerable from 8th grade all the way to 12th grade. They get us from 2nd grade from our various primary schools. I was at New Kanyama Basic School, so they came to my school in 7th grade. They did the whole interview process, and then they got me, and then they took us to one of two schools. At the time, it was either Pestalozzi Education Center or Charlotte Trust School. For me, it was at Pestalozzi Education Center. So I went at Pestalozzi. Then from there, they sort of like built us to think of university more than just Zambia. So even as we were going through the process from 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, they sort of prepared us, or at least made us aware of opportunities going into school outside Zambia. So we sort of had that mentality of applying even before we graduated. And as a result, in 11th grade, I think, I sat for my subject test because I knew I wanted to do engineering. I sat for my subject test. I wrote mathematics and physics. Then in 12th grade, I sat for my SATs, and then I started applying. Now, that process didn't yield results because, you know,
yeah, I
most
know
of the
that
time we
process
see
not too well.
exactly. You know those emails when they say it is genuinely great to
Yeah,
inform
we
you.
regret to inform you.
So I think I received like 20 of those, and I was on the verge of giving up. Right then, I came across Mr. Ray Jackson, the founder of New Seasons Youth Program. So yeah, I got in touch with him, sent him all my details, and then he promised me that he would find a scholarship for me, and he did deliver. Because I think a year later, the first time I got in contact with him, we didn't get anything, but a year later, he found a scholarship for me at Johnson C. Smith University. That is where I am right now, pursuing my degree in computer engineering.
Right. So let me take you back a bit. How did you come across Mr. Ray Jackson?
So the same organization that sponsored my secondary education, right? The director of the organization, Mrs. Nkowani, she, because they were trying to like find scholarships for us, in America and anywhere else. So in that process of trying to find opportunities for us, she found New Seasons and Mr. Ray Jackson. And so what she did, she brought this opportunity to me and told me, I think you would benefit from this organization. I know the founder. I mean, we're in contact with the founder, so I'm going to exchange emails and you guys can start the conversation from there. So it was through her that I got to know about New Seasons, and I got in contact with Mr. Jackson. And from there, we sent each other emails and we started talking from there.
Wow. And now you've been staying at his house for how long now, whenever you're on holiday?
Yeah, so like for 3 years now.
Yeah, wow. Time flies, eh? I remember the first time we went there. Anyway, sounds like this organization, Kuchetekela. Sounds like it's been doing some really good stuff. I'm surprised I've never heard of it. I think I've heard of Pestalozzi, but I never really quite got the connection with this Kuchetekela organization. Are you still in contact with them?
We are in contact.
Okay.
Just that right now, with school and everything, I haven't been like as connected to them as I would have liked. But we are in contact still. And it's funny you say that because most opportunities that we have back home, although limited, they are not well like advertised. Not everybody knows about them. Because even
True.
this Kuchetekela Foundation, it took chance for me to know that they were even on my school. I wouldn't have known that they were on my school looking for talented young people had it not been for a conversation I had with one of my friends who talks to my teacher, who then found out from the headmaster that there's such a program. So, like opportunities like this, we rarely hear about them. It's sad that some people such opportunities pass them. And I think as a
Yeah,
nation we should do a good job at informing people on some opportunities and just different things.
that's true. That's so true. And I think the onus is also on these organizations to like really spread the word out there. Now we're living in a social media world. Like you can create, I mean, even Facebook pages. These are the things that are supposed to be trending because I'm sure you're not the only one that this organization has helped. I'm sure there are plenty of other people, but
Yeah.
we'll get into that later on. So this organization finds you. This organization picks you up. In what grade did they pick you up in?
So they came at my primary school in seventh grade, in the second term. I think it was around June, May, June, somewhere there, before we wrote our mock exams.
Mhm.
So they came there, they started the whole process. Yeah, they came in seventh grade,
So they sponsored you all the way up until you finished your 12th grade.
eighth to 12. They sponsored that.
Wow. That must have been such a huge relief for like I know your guardians because I think secondary education in Zambia is like so exhausting on some parents sometimes and that must have been a huge relief for you to just like focus on your studies and I feel like with the new Don government, I think this has been one of the conversations in terms of free education and stuff, so that the student just gets to focus on school. So this must have been a huge financial uh, freedom for you and your family.
It was, and I think it also came at a perfect time for us
Mm,
because that was a time like 6 months before I started my eighth grade. I lost both my mom and my dad. So with the organization coming through, they really helped us because we were actually thinking of where are we gonna go, which school am I gonna go to. When you think
mm,
of quality of education as well, it matters because most of the schools we're thinking about, the quality of
yeah,
education wasn't as much. So when the organization came through, they took us to one of the best private institutions in the nation, and
yeah.
of course they paid for everything. So they really helped us. We focused our resources on something else, on my young brother and everybody else. So yeah, kudos to Kuchetekela Foundation.
Oh yeah, for sure. A big shout out to them. And yeah, funny you bring that up because I remember growing up, even now, like Charlotte Trust School was like one of the best schools in the country. I remember there was even a running advert on TV and radio about Charlotte Trust. The same goes for Pestalozzi. But you also brought up an interesting part there where you said you lost both of your parents growing up. I'm curious to know how do you think that turn of events shaped you as a human being in general and at such a young age, like did you have a sense of what was going on or did you like just run me how you like managed to figure out your life after that and how you've managed so far?
Right. So I think in terms of managing, I would like take it a step back before the actual events that led to the death of both my parents. Like a few years before that, I think it was 2007. Wait, even before that, like let's go before 2007.
Way
So before
before, okay.
2007,
Mm.
my dad used to work as an accountant. I forgotten the bank. I forgot the name of the bank, but yeah, there was a bank that he used to work for. and he was an accountant, and of course he used to make some good money. And so we used to live like comfortably. We would have everything wanted. The houses were paid for. We had food, and everything was comfortable. I was going to a private school. I can't remember where my brothers were. They might have been at a government school, but I was going at a private school. So was my young brother. We're both going at a private school until 2007. So in 2007, he got sick and he lost his job, and there was no source of income in the house. So
Wow.
from 2007 to 2009, we struggled to get anything. I'm talking of food, clothes, paying for fees at my private school. As a result, I even had to move to a government school, a public school that was very far. We couldn't eat anything. We barely had anything to eat for like 3 days. Once you find that, we eat as a family, and then you don't know when next the food is gonna come. So for like 2 years, we sort of built that strong mentality of saying, of I sort of like the belief that things are gonna get better later on in the future. So we sort of became strong in that regard. And as a result, when the events that happened in 2012 June and January 2013, we stayed with mom and dad, um, I was sort of ready in the mind. I was already like mature enough to understand what was going on. I knew my dad was sick for a long time. So when he died, because he died first. So when he died, I sort of understood what was going on, even though it was at a young age. And I was sort of like, I've been through some stuff in the past. So it was easy for me to overcome that. The harder one though was when my mom died, because my mom wasn't sick. It sort of happened so sudden, and I wasn't home at the time that it happened. I had already started living with my cousin, who I currently live with. When I go home to visit, that's the home I go to. So I had already started living with him, and then it just hit me different because I thought everything was okay. My mom wasn't sick, and over a sudden we just received this phone call to say your mama died. It hits different, and like I said, like I sort of built that mentality of saying things are gonna get better, and with the belief I have in God, I was like, things happen for a reason. And even though sometimes it was hard, I'm a young kid, I would cry and all that, but I think over time, I think I just understood to say, maybe like I shouldn't let this be like defining in the negative way. Let me use this to influence my life in a positive way. And I did, because for Kuchetekela Foundation to choose me 100%, I think the death of my dad played a role. Because, there's competition, there are many brilliant kids. And so they want to pick brilliant kids, but also vulnerable kids. So I
Yeah.
think it also helped put me in a better position for me to be selected. That's how I decided to look at it, at least. I was like, because of this, I know it's unfortunate, and nobody should ever like grow up without parents. But I looked at it from a positive angle, and I was like, let me use this as a gift to influence my life positively, to go to school, help my family in ways that I can. And yeah, that's how I managed to like deal with it. But there's no dealing with it 100%. There's
Oh
sometimes
yeah,
when you
for
just get
sure.
lonely, bro, and you just miss your parents. So like, I wish they were here. You achieve something, you graduate your secondary school, you wish they were there to see all that. Every success you get, there's some moments where you wish they were there. But I think overall, I just try to see things on a positive perspective.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's even a tight bit worse now that you're also in a different country, like so far away from even your extended family or the family that took you in now. It's like, we'll get back to this point, how you handle your mental health here, being so far away from people, friends, being in such a secluded environment with a few friends, I assume. But what kind of kid were you growing up? I mean, you lost both of your parents. I'm assuming some extended family members took care of you, took you in, as is tradition in Zambia. So how did that change from living with both of your parents to now living with your cousin? How did that come through? Like, how did you handle that? Did you sort of experience any discrimination? Because that's something that is very possible and prevalent actually if like you're being kept by someone who's not your actual blood per se. So how did life turn out for you in that new chapter?
Right. So like when I was being raised, I was raised a Christian. So we used to go to church, and I grew up with the Christian values.
Are you still a
So
Christian?
I am a Christian.
Okay.
I call myself a Christian, but uh, technically I'm SDA, but I'm a believer. Let me just say I'm a believer. I
Okay.
don't want to go in detail. But yeah, I was raised a Christian, right? And we were all boys. So because we're all boys, somebody needed to help my mom. And growing up, I was the guy that was helping my mom with chores and everything else. So I was already that kid that was like would do chores, very respectful. I would respect the elders as they taught us growing up. Uh,
Yeah.
clean the house, help with the cooking. And back in the day, I don't know if in Copper Belt was the same thing, but for us, we used to like fetch water from afar back in the day. So that fetching, we used to do that.
Yeah, copper belt is yeah, we do have running water. Okay.
You guys were pushing it. Because
I'm not sure
in
if it's
Lusaka,
bougie. Mm.
Lusaka, we used to fetch water like 2 kilometers away. And those big, you're a kid and you're carrying that 25 liters container, bro. That was crazy. But so like I grew up being that kid, the kid that would do the chores, help my mom, be respectful and all that. As a result, the transition wasn't really difficult for me
Yeah,
because when you respect people, they'll respect you back.
for sure.
Uh, and my cousin and his family, they are good people already. Then you bring me who's already a good person and who just does the chores as they are required. It wasn't that hard for me, honestly. It just felt like a second family. Of course, I would miss my
Mhm.
family back home, but it just felt like normal for me. Everything was okay. I didn't experience anything out of the box. Everything was just normal. They took me in as their firstborn because they were newly weds at the time. So I was like their firstborn. I grew up with them. So it wasn't hard at all for me. I didn't experience anything out of the box.
Nice, for sure. Let me take you back a little bit. At the beginning, you said you sort of started having a mindset of there are more universities aside from Zambia. And in your 11th grade, you actually sat for your subject test. So for people out there who don't know, like SATs are split into two. I think they're like specific subject tests, and the SAT is general admission tests, I guess, which is just English and math, but subject tests are specifically tailored to certain subjects, for example, physics, chemistry, whatever, biology, math. So you said you had a dream of being an engineer, yeah? Is
Mhm.
that dream still alive?
It is very much alive. Um, yeah, it's been refined a little bit.
Yeah.
So like in 11th grade, I wanted to be an engineer, but before that, I wanted to follow the footsteps of my father. I'd be like, I'm gonna be an
Uh,
accountant as well. So
yeah.
everything I did up to like my 10th grade was
Hmm.
trying to follow my dad, doing courses like accounts, commerce. In 8th and 9th grade, I did office practice. I took
Yeah.
all those courses, just being ready for being an accountant. But then I was also fascinated by science, because like everything you see, you would interpret it with science. You'd be like, oh,
Science.
this happens and this and that. You can even do the math because I love mathematics. So you would do the math and actually prove those things. And that fascination grew on me. Then I switched. I was like, I wanted to be an engineer. And like I said, that the idea of being an engineer is still there. It's just refined to why I'm doing it. Back then, I was just like, oh, I love math, I love science. I think I can make a career out of it. But these days, I'm actually looking at engineering as, uh, you know, when you ask engineers what is engineering, most of the time the answer they'll give is like solving problems. We are problem solvers. We sort of take something that is not working well or not optimal, and we try our best to make it work efficiently and optimally. And that's what engineering is for me. So I try to like use the skills I have to solve problems. Now the problems could be uh, they could range from anything, but for me personally, it's about helping people. So if I could like help people in any way with my skills in engineering, I would do that, and that's what engineering is for me. And as a result, I even decided to major in computer engineering.
Mm.
Um, I'm currently doing computer engineering. I'm a senior, almost graduating. So so yeah, I'm gonna use this degree and the skills I've learned to solve problems for the community.
You said something that I think very few people think about, and I think it's very much prevalent in Zambia specifically. Growing up, you see the people that you're in direct contact with, the people that inspire you, the people that take care of you. You see them doing this, or you see them doing these certain careers, or they're in these certain careers. For example, in your case, it was accounting. In my case, it was I think mining, and I feel like we are set in some way conditioned to say, oh, that's what I should be, or to say, oh, to be successful, that's what I should aim for. Don't you think that's somehow affecting us as a country, in terms of we do not have what I would call, we lack the creativity, we lack that boldness to try out something new, because to us success looks a certain specific way that we've grown up seeing. So I'll take a perfect example of you. Let's say you probably didn't even have enough time to look at other career paths, other courses aside from accounting, because to you accounting was the absolute, you know, epitome of success. Don't you think as a country and as youths, speaking to like maybe someone in grade 10, 11, 12, or even 9, we should have that boldness and that ambition to think outside the box, use your strengths, use what you're good at to make a career out of it, or to make money out of it, or a living out of it. I'm glad you mixed everything that you gathered, and you kind of found a sweet spot for yourself. But what do you think is your take on this?
I think definitely like we lack that braveness to try out things as a nation. And in as much as I would try to put the blame on the kids, the 10th grader, I think it's deeper than that.
Mm,
It's more on the exposure. I think lately you can see that we're getting more exposed. But
yeah.
there's this I love watching a lot of comedy. So I was watching Trevor Noah one day, and one of his shows he said a dream is just as big. He said something in the lines of, I'm just paraphrasing. He said a kid can only dream as big as they know. Like your dreams are based on everything you know. You
Mm,
cannot dream of going to uh, a land far away if all you know is Lusaka. So all we see is all we believe. In Zambia, unfortunately, things we see are accounting, mining, doctor. And these are the things we think everybody should be. And not
mm,
everybody knows, like, some of the biggest, the richest people in our world today, they don't even do any of those things. They are doing some things that are totally different. But it's the exposure that we lack. I think from a young age, we sort of condition our kids or ourselves to only focus on these major careers, not knowing that there's something way better that you can do. There are people that have done music and they are millionaires. There are people doing arts and different things that are doing amazing things. So I think the problem isn't about like the actual cave grader themselves, because they rely on the environment they grow up in to
mm-hmm.
form decisions basically. So if we don't expose them to all these different opportunities we have, they'll be limited in how much they can dream. all they'll be seeing is doctor. All they'll be seeing is engineer. They won't see beyond that. And I think as a nation, this is something we should definitely do
Address.
better at, starting from school. Because I think the
Yeah,
schools themselves, the way they condition us to be doctors and engineers. That's it. Nothing
yeah,
more.
that's true. But I guess the onus is also on the student, the pupil. For example, you yourself, you also grew up in that exact same Zambia. I mean, yes, luck and chance had a huge role to play in how you turned out and what you are exposed to. But now we live in a social media world, everything is at your fingertips or on your fingertips. If you see someone who's doing something that you think you enjoy, you can easily reach out to them and ask them how they got where they were. You can easily ask for mentorship because, I mean, there's always a first time for something. You know, I'm a firm believer in breaking breaking records or being the first to do something. So I think we need to be more daring as a country. If you fail, you fail. You learn something from that. If you succeed, you succeed. You still learn something from that. But being stagnant and just following the conventional way of doing things, it has, I think, created more problems because now we have more teachers than we can employ. We have more doctors than we can ever employ. So at the end of the day, we have people graduating who are frustrated and not even as motivated to do their actual job. So I personally feel like countries like the US have really um they've really taken a step back in evaluating that. Like you don't really see as many people doing medicine in the US. You have people doing a myriad of majors. I'm sure you have people at your school who are doing majors that you're just curious to, oh, what can you do with that major?
Yeah.
You have people majoring in music, like just strictly music, you wonder what they would do with that. But you can do so many things. You can do artist management, you can do talent management. And so as a country, I feel like we need to refocus ourselves and not just get stuck on the flashy things, other trendy stuff that really shouldn't be trending, that we are not going to get into on this.
Right.
But I want to tap your mind on something that I think is so close to you and so dear to you, entrepreneurship and uh, opportunities that we can tap into as the up and coming generation in Zambia, specifically in conjunction with tech, because this is something I think that you are into. So with your experience now, that you've managed to gather here in the US, what do you think are some of the key sectors that we're lacking that much tech in Zambia that you feel like in the next few years will be like so big that we'll have no other option but to tap into? Just run me through a couple of those.
All right. So when it comes to technology, I think slowly I've been seeing some change. But like if you had asked me this question, I think a year ago or 6, 7 months ago, I would say every industry in Zambia needs technology.
Yeah,
Because I think Zambians were so slow at adopting new things. We
yeah,
always want others to test it first and see the wrongs they do before we adopt it. But
yeah,
I think now we are sort of seeing the change. And technology, if you compare to like the United States, it's used everywhere. It doesn't matter what industry you are in. You have technology in health. You have technology in retail.
yeah,
You have technology in e-commerce. You have technology in banking. Everything requires technology. And you know what technology does? It makes things easier. It makes the services to be delivered quicker. It enables, if you talk about the finance sector, for example, you don't have to go. Have you gone to Zanaco lately, or even back in the day when we used to go to Zanaco? Those lines are long. And some of the things, like in December, right? The previous December, I went home and I needed to withdraw some money. I had sent the money in FNB bank, and then I needed to withdraw something. For some reason, they were withholding my funds. And so I called them. I was like, "Hey guys, why are we withdrawing my funds?" Oh, You need to come to the branch. Come to the branch. Like I can
Why?
just go to the ATM and just withdraw or something like that. Why do I need to come to the branch? I was like, okay, cool. Let me go to the branch. I go to the branch. First of all, I found a long queue.
Mm,
Then when I eventually got there, I told the person what my problem was. Like, oh, let me see. He just asked me a couple of questions. Blah 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 blah. I answered them. They're like, okay, cool. Everything is done. I'm like, the time I've wasted. I wasted like
yeah.
2 hours. All that 2 hours, I would have reduced it if only we had a solution, a tech solution that would make that, put that into a platform and somebody can do it on the comfort of their home. Answer a couple of questions, they approve it, their system approves it, then I get my cash at an ATM anyway. But because we lack that technology in that sector, I had to go to the bank and waste 2 hours on the queue. So
So,
there's an
so
opportunity there.
let me ask you, do we lack that technology, or these companies are just not employing the people who can do that? Or are we not pitching these ideas to these companies? Because that's something that's very easy. How many engineers has the University of Zambia graduated? I'm sure someone can make
A
a chat
lot.
box for that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like now, I can see some people doing this, like actually approaching some of these companies and pitching this to them. But we just, Zambians, like I said, we like seeing somebody else fail first before we
Mm,
actually try it out. We lack that bravery, and that is something we need to change. We need to be willing to try out this thing. We have many people that we have very good engineers in Zambia, very
oh yeah.
good software developers, but it's just like they don't want to be that person who, if it fails, they don't want the blame to be put on them if it fails. They don't want to try
Mm,
things out, like you said. We're not bold enough to go for things. But these ideas are there, and the people to do them are there. We just need to be willing to take that opportunity. Just try it out. You never know what will happen. Because in
yeah.
terms of technology, bro, every field would use technology. And if you
I
compare like
mean,
some of the things that are being done here, taking
yeah.
them home, it's very doable and very feasible. Some of the youths should actually consider, like, implementing some of these ideas. Because, like a great person once said to me, where there's a problem, there's money to be made. So if you want to reduce the 2 hours waiting time at FNB, create a solution for them, and you're going to make money out of it. That's how billionaires are born. Though. They just solved a simple problem, and now they're making billions and billions of dollars.
Yeah, that's true. I think that can even apply to like the health industry or the health sector. Like you still have people writing in those small little books, like
Books, bro.
first of all, that's wasting so much money just buying that book. That's wasting so much, with this climate change that people are trying to advocate for now. We can really do away with all those trivial things. And it just takes up so much time, having to write in a book, and records can easily get lost in that too. So yeah, definitely. And in terms of entrepreneurship, like opportunities or investment opportunities that you see currently in Zambia, do you mind sharing a few?
Yeah, yeah. Entrepreneurship, like I said earlier, where there's a problem, there's an opportunity. So,
Mhm.
and Zambia has a lot of problems. So
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure.
that means there is a lot of opportunity. We just
Yeah.
need to be willing to explore some of these opportunities. So, in terms of the things I've seen, this FNB is just one example. Some of the things that are just frustrating to me. Uh, the financial sector, we're not willing to put everything on a simple application that can handle all these things for them. Uh,
Mm.
if people are willing to invest, I'm gonna like all the things I'm gonna suggest will be mostly about technology, but I'm sure there are other fields that I think we can do better as a nation and where opportunity lies. But in terms of
Yeah.
technology, the things I'm exposed to, there's the financial sector. We can do a lot in that. The, they've done a great job with transportation. We have the Yangos and the Ulendos, so they're doing a really good job about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a tech solution as well. So it's very convenient to just put in where you want to go, and you have somebody can pick you up. That's how easy technology can make life. You know, you don't have to be like the one handling everything with technology. You can just provide that platform where you connect these people and people can get that. You have the health sector, like you've suggested. too much waiting time, too much information that books cannot. Like you want to find something, you have to literally flip through the pages for you to find that record. But with technology, if everything is on a platform or a system, just enter a name and their information pops up. So
Boom.
that's another field that people can look at. I've also been hearing a lot about agri-tech. I haven't really looked a lot into that, but Zambia being heavy on agriculture, I think if there's a way that people can find some problems that the agricultural guys are facing that technology can solve, uh,
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure there are a lot of opportunities out there. I guess we have many opportunities in Zambia. We just don't have people willing to take up that challenge because it is challenging
Yeah.
taking these things up. And in the first years, you hear of people who are doing good now. They say, "Oh, we started 10 years ago, and we only started making good money 3 years ago." So people are not willing to wait. They want quick money, and that's why you hear of these pyramid schemes that are always coming. Zambians will fall on that because they want quick money. They are not willing to wait for a long time, and that unfortunately is what brings us down in terms of entrepreneurship. And only a few select are willing to do the time and reap the benefits.
Yeah, I always try to think of it as if if I start up something, even though I might not be the one to directly benefit from it, as long as it keeps on running, even after I'm gone, then to me that's a win in my books. But let me take you back a little bit. So you are studying computer engineering in the US. A huge component of college life in the US is having internships and gaining that real world experience. Run me through a few of your internships that you've done and what you've learned from them.
Yes. So the first thing I did when I came here was summer counselor.
Who did you do that with?
You went together to Massachusetts, Cape Cod,
Yeah,
Wingate Kirkland summer
okay,
camp.
Kirkland. Yeah.
Yeah, I was a counselor there. Then the second year, I did an internship with Lenovo as a data analyst.
Mm-hmm.
Then this we're still in 2023, right? Yeah, this year
Yeah.
I did an internship as a software engineer at Bank of America. So all these three opportunities I've had in America, they are unique benefits and some of the things that helped me grow. The counselor opportunity, it was my first time being in America, and I hadn't traveled as much. And
Yeah.
then you go to the camp, you meet amazing people like Sandy, the
Yeah.
owner of the camp, and she
And you
just
ask for Coca-Cola.
yeah, I'm sure we will always remember that.
Yep. Yep. Well,
You always remember that. But yeah, I mean, you meet these people who show you like what life in America would be. She got this number that I'm using in America for me, so
oh
it
yeah,
was
me
it was
too.
an interesting opportunity because she like helped me get acclimated to the American life, things that I might need. The camp helped me. I talked to people, made new connections, and I just had fun for that time. I had fun. I learned different sports. I did different
Languages too.
activities. But exactly, that's where my name of I call myself the Great. That's where the El Chingon came from. So.
You paid us some good
uh,
money too for that time.
yeah. For that, and we were just like it was our first time in America, so that was
Yeah.
really good money. It did solve a lot of the problems we had. Um, and I'll forever hold the summer opportunity dear to my heart. But then the Lenovo and the Bank of America, these are special because being in engineering, the fact that I chose technology,
Mm-hmm.
these sort of shaped what I want to do now, the things that I
Yeah.
wanted to do now. Uh, for the Lenovo and data analysis, I think now most companies, or even, yeah, I think most companies, I don't want to say all companies, they
Mm-hmm.
they try and not even try, they do rely on data. So to make a decision, you need to back it up with information. You need to say the reason why we're doing A is because uh, C, D, and E, when once implemented, they're going to give us this result. So that thinking of using data to form decisions is the main skill I learned at Lenovo. So there's a bunch of information that the company has, bunch of information that comes to the company that the company sends out, and then using that information to make an informed decision is what data analysis is all about. It is what I did.
Give us an example.
Okay, so
give us an example of something that you maybe worked on, or if it's proprietary, maybe it's something generic.
Yeah, like it's proprietary, so I wouldn't want to give the actual details. But if I was to like just give it in simple terms, even just in everyday life, like we use like you want to get a new, let's say, shoe, for example. You hit up a couple of your friends and tell them, hey guys, I want a new shoe. Then some of your friends who know something about shoes, they'll tell you, oh, bruh, you should get A, B, C, D. I used this last time. This is the result. This is how much I think it will cost. That's data. So, of course, the gap and it's bigger than that, and the information they get is way bigger than that. But it's like Lenovo has some companies that come to it to say, oh, because Lenovo produces laptops. So let's say a company comes to it and they say, hey, we want 10,000 laptops that will be distributed to so and so and so and so. Now, so much of these laptops should be blah, 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 so much should be blah, 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 so much should be blah, blah, blah. Now, we have people and resources within the organization, right? And so when that information comes to us, they need to distribute or share like the responsibilities to know who's going to do what. Because not one person makes the whole PC. It has to go through different stages, right? So we, the data analysts, we sort of get that information and then break it down to say, oh, if you give these people to handle this amount and these people, we're gonna finish this tender or this proposal in so much time, and this is how much we're gonna make from that. If we do it in this way, this is how much is gonna be made. Such things. So you inform them in such way. Of course, it was more complex than that, and there are more things that came in. But on a simple basis, that's basically what we do. You get a bunch of data, mostly in Excel. You use some coding, analyze that, and then show your manager what the benefits are of going a certain route other than going the other route. Then your manager takes that to his manager, and then eventually teaches the bosses, and the bosses they make a decision. In that way, you're helping them make a decision.
So this is, from what I'm getting, this is mostly using statistics to make decisions, basically.
Basically, statistics. Data analysis is all about numbers. You're just saying it's numbers and logic. You're just saying if we do this, this will happen, this will happen, and this is the statistics we have to show that this is going to happen this way.
Oh, for sure. So what languages were you mostly working in?
At Lenovo, I was at liberty to choose, and then at the time I chose to work in Python because I was just learning Python then, and it was easy. It was easier to work with different data files from Word, Excel, text files, PDFs. It was easy to work in all these files and analyze them with Python. So that's why I used Python.
Nice. And then Bank of America?
Bank of America is a software engineer. So software engineer, I was really excited to get into this role because I want to be a software engineer. So being exposed to like what it means to be a software engineer, I got that at Bank of America. And then with the group that I was working with, it's just solving problems. We are creating something, with technology. So we were building applications with a framework known as React. So we use React framework to build these applications. The front end being everything we see. The buttons that you press, the text that you see, the layouts you have, all that was being created in React. Then the backend, which we don't see, the logic that is behind, we did that in Python. So if you want these companies, they handle huge portions of data. So that data, not everything can be shown at once. Different portions of the application, they have to show different things. So what the backend engineer does is they get all that huge chunk of data, break it down and save those broken down components into different things. And uh, at different parts of your application, you're calling any of those different components. So if you press this button, it's gonna call this amount of data. And then there's
Yeah.
also some analysis that you gotta do there because the data comes in raw. So you need to analyze it first, take out what you don't need. The data analysis came in as well. Filter out what you don't need, only get what you need, and show the clients what they really need to see. That was all what software engineering is. It's just solving problems for different people. In my case, it was the clients, my clients or my group's clients were the people within the organization. So there are people who are serving. There's a different department that needed our applications to do whatever they were doing. So we built those applications for them and made sure that they did their jobs effectively.
So software engineering was more so making an app to solve a problem that's already existing or that I don't know they foresee.
Yeah, and also sometimes it could involve already existing applications. You're just making them better. There's certain
Improving them.
components that are slow. Maybe they're causing the system to slow down. We're there to figure out how to make it better.
So all this is just improving that one app, that one Bank of America app, and processing all
No,
the data that comes with it.
no. So that app is just one component of so many different things that Bank of America does. So that app that people see is just handled by a small group of people.
Yeah.
There's a small
Wow.
people that handle that. I was even shocked as well. I think just for my organization, department, the apps I saw as handling were like, I would say 20, 25 applications just
Wow.
for my department. And they serve different roles. So the Bank of America app that people see is probably being handled just by a few people. And there's also like within the Bank of America application, there are different components within that.
Yeah.
And different people handle that single component. So it just depends, but there are many applications that people don't even get to see. Before something reaches the public, it goes through different people. And there
Oh
are
yeah.
different people that do a lot of analysis. They add different things so that when it eventually comes to you, it needs to be perfect and flawless. And that's how they make the money because they make your life very easy. Whereas the back end of that, that's where most of the work is being done. You don't have to worry about the work. Just see what you want to see. You just want to see what is your balance. You don't care how we do it. All you want to see is how much do I have in my
How
account.
much? Yeah. So with that Bank of America, which part were you mostly working with? Was it the front end or the back end?
So I was deliberate. I had the conversation with my manager when I first started. I told him to say, I want to be all-round software engineer. And this is the
Wow.
opportunity that I have to learn as much as I can. So I told him I want exposure to everything, both front end and back end. So I was equally involved in the back end as I was in the front end. And sometimes if you're being relaxed in an internship, right, you get whatever is given to you. It's up to you to like
Yeah.
go and talk to people and tell them, oh, I need more. So whenever I was given a front end task, for example, I would finish that. Then I would tell them, okay, guys, I've done it to front end. I need some back end. Then they'll give you some back end tasks and you work on them. And yeah, ask as many questions as you can. Everybody's willing to help. At least they did in my department.
I think that's one profound thing that you've said there. Sometimes in internships you can be so fixed on your project that you forget that, oh, I'm in this really amazing place or company and I can learn so much aside from just this one thing that I'm here to do. And I think it's something that I'm also trying to do instead of just focusing on one thing. If you have the opportunity to, I mean, you can, like you said, crunch in a few nights, try to finish what you have earlier, and then try to see what the other side brings. So which one did you enjoy more though? The back end or the front
Oh, if I was to pick one,
end? Yeah.
uh, I would say The front end is more interesting because you are creating these things, you're adding color, you're adding different components. But the back
Yeah.
end, if you're a true engineer,
Mm-hmm.
the back end is where most of the work is done. Because that's where people don't really sweat as much at the front end. They sweat in the back end because the back end they'll tell you, oh, we need this to be faster. We need you to get this because, like I said, it goes through different layers, the data, right? So the
Yeah.
backend is what handles how quick you get that data, what data actually comes out. That is
Mm-hmm.
fascinating, but it's all code. So you won't see the fascination if you're not into code.
Yeah.
If you like to see results, front end is for you. For me, I would say I enjoyed front end because it was a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Because back end was challenging. Back end was challenging because I remember doing this task I was given. After finishing it, I felt myself as okay, I think
Yeah.
I've done the most here. Then it went through the tests, and then I got like a 79%, like what do they call it? 79% uh, efficiency or something like that. And
Mm-hmm.
the cutoff for our department was 85. And I was like, I've done everything right, and yet I'm just on 79. What do I need to do right? And so you needed to like go back to your code, see ways in which you can make it better, make it more efficient, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Whereas the front end, they just tell you add 7 buttons, this button does blah blah blah, this does blah blah blah. You can do that, and as long as it looks okay, then it is okay.
Yeah. Wow. Nice. Nice. Well, and so how has been your experience with coding per se? How did you start? How would you encourage someone out there who wants to learn to start?
Yeah. So my experience with coding. So remember I said that I decided to do engineering in 11th grade. Right?
Yeah.
The type of engineering I was envisioning then wasn't
Totally
computers.
different. Because building structures.
It was building as a structure. I
I
was
think
about a civil engineer.
when you say engineering in Zambia, that's roughly what comes to everyone.
That's what comes to mind.
Building structures, building stuff, you know.
Yeah. So like I also had that mindset coming in. And I actually thought until the offer came through to come at Johnson C. Smith, I thought I was going to do computer engineering. I mean
Yeah.
civil engineering.
Yeah.
I was even focused on doing that. I was at Bay, at
Mm.
Unza, doing all that
Yeah.
engineering stuff. I was so ready. Then the offer comes through, and then you look at the degree programs they're offering, and the only engineering that my school has, no, there are actually two: information systems engineering and computer engineering. And I was like, these are the only engineerings they have. So of the two, I decided to go with computer engineering. I had zero experience in coding. I didn't know anything about coding. I didn't even know what Python is. Whenever somebody mentioned Python, Snake comes to my head. That's the only thing I thought about. So I didn't
I
even
mean,
know that
even the logo is the snake.
it's a
Some
snake,
sort of
right?
snake.
So for me, that's all I was saying. I was just seeing Mundawanga snakes, all those things, the snake, Kalimba, and stuff. That's all
Yeah.
that came to mind when somebody talked about Python. And then you just hear this new idea that people are talking about, like coding, programming. And I was like, what is this anime? And then somebody just gave me this one statement that really changed my perspective because I was close to changing my major at some point. Because I was like, I
Mhm.
don't know anything about this, and people say that this thing is very hard. It's going to take you time to learn this,
Yeah.
this skill. But then somebody told me that everything you see, like I had my phone, right? And then somebody
Mhm.
was like, yeah, everything you see on your phone, that's what coding is. They make all those. And that fascinated me. It blew my mind. I
Who
wanted to
told you this?
understand. I think I had a conversation with Robert. It should be
Okay.
Robert or Baby. One of these. It's one of these. So yeah, they told me that everything you see on your application, that's coding. They built all those things. And I wanted to like understand how they did the actual building. And I became intentional about it.
Yeah.
I studied my research. What is Python? What is programming? What is all these things? And then what added to that as well is that at my school they have this program where they would pay for you to learn different courses. So I went into programming courses that became very interesting. And even though it's like a whole different language. It's like somebody comes to you and tells you, yeah, you gotta learn Portuguese. It will be so confusing at first, but once you grasp like the concepts of what programming is, what coding is, the different syntax that are supposed to be used, once you grasp that, you can create
Yeah.
anything. Yeah? And I got the idea. And it's very challenging at first for anybody that wants to do it. It's very challenging, but once you get through the challenging phase, it becomes so interesting. You can create anything you want to create. You want to create games, you can create games. You want to create applications, you can create applications. It becomes very fascinating, but it is challenging. I'm going to give you that. But it's actually a field that I would encourage most Zambians going to
Yeah,
because
for
there's
sure.
so much opportunity, not just in Zambia, like worldwide. Most people are needed in technology, and if you know
Even
coding,
employment opportunities worldwide.
exactly, you don't have to be stuck to Zambia. You can go anywhere if
Yeah.
you learn the skill of coding.
Nice, nice. I'm glad. I'm happy, man. It can be such a daunting task, but for anyone who wants to start out there, I think for me the best advice I ever received is just start. Don't wait for something, or yeah, just start doing something. Try to
Just
find the problem, try to figure out how you can solve it. 95%, uh, there's a 95% chance you can code your way out of that problem, you
mhm.
know. But anyway, yeah, nice. Picking your mind about some of these things. Um, is there anything that you wanted me to ask that I haven't asked?
Yeah, I'm sure like this is not the first episode that I'm gonna feature in. There'll be
Oh,
other
for
times when I'll
sure.
pop up and
I like the
we'll
confidence.
talk.
I like the confidence.
We'll definitely talk about some of these other things. But just commending you on this initiative you have. I think most of our youths, especially back home, they need to see like people as young as them doing some
Oh
of the
yeah.
things, motivating them, and also showing them that we can also be a resource that they can use. Like
Mhm.
there are people who want to see change in Zambia, and we are some of those people. And if we can pick the brains on some of the brilliant minds we have back home, put our minds
Yeah.
together, we can create different things. And some of the advice that they receive on such platforms like these ones, they should just take it to heart. Advice like start. You don't have to wait. Just start and see what will happen.
Yeah.
Most of the time our youths we are so like so safe. We try to play it too safe sometimes. And so just having this platform where people can see some of their friends, their peers doing some of the things they've done, or just learning from
Mhm.
the life of some of their peers, I think that's a great initiative. Uh, Big ups to you for having such an initiative.
For sure, for sure. Looking forward to having you on a different one. And I think I also have to commend you for taking the time out and just being so accommodating. And yeah, you're doing big things, man. I'm always impressed and inspired by you. It's like you said, seeing someone your age doing something good is it's inspiring. You can only hope to learn and even replicate even just 5% of that, and you'll be good. Otherwise, until the next episode, thank you so much, the great. It's been nice having you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah.